Hi Will, I hope this video helps you to teach your class on Wednesday and I'll come in while you're teaching on Thursday. So you're going to start with a yoga warm-up, starting in child's pose. Take the knees wide, big toes to touch, hips back towards your heels, lower yourself down. Use this time for grounding them into the practice, bring some attention to their breath. Make sure there's full extension of the arms, hips back toward the heels. After you spend 5 to 8 breaths here, have them walk their hands up and over to the left, center the palms down, push the floor away, lean into the right side body, separating the rib cage. Take 5 to 8 breaths there. Switching it up and over, stay low, eyes on up and over to the other side. Lean into the left side body. Shoulder blades moving down the back. Ask them to put a little weight in the knuckles of their toes as they work through this. Afterwards, coming on to hands and knees. Hands are separated, shoulders width, stacking the bones of the arms, wrists, elbows, and shoulders. Come in for cat-cow. Inhale, belly and ribs fall. Exhale, rounding the spine, chin to chest. Articulating the movement from the hips. Just having them do several rounds here. Connecting the inhale with the movement, exhale with the movement. From here, you're going to have them flare their fingers out, hands, shoulders width apart or a little wider. Take it back, first downward facing dog. Playing with the weight in the forelimbs, have them walk it out a little bit. Bending one knee, dropping weight in the opposite heel. Keep the breath nice and steady. Shoulder blades drawing down the back. I'd give them 5 to 8 breaths in that down dog. Having them come out, keep the toes rolled under, hips back toward the heels, power down in the feet just to stretch out their feet. Nice steady breath. Spending 5 to 8 breaths there, coming back onto hands and knees, extend back in the left leg. It's a closed hip pose, down facing, right arm out. Balance stick, right palm facing left, lengthen out, duality working, fingers reaching forward, toes reaching back. 5 breaths, switching sides. Coming in, you might want to take the opportunity for a wide straddle seat here, flexing your toes back towards your knees and maybe just bringing your chest or heart a little forward. Rooting down in your sits bones. So it's a little turn here of the thigh, pushing down, pulling it out. Both sides, sits bones are down, and think tailbone descending down. As you do that, there's a slight lift of the pelvis. Bringing your heart forward. Few breaths here. Come in for your stick mobility here. Planting the stick into the arches of the feet. Take an overhand grip. Pulling the sticks inward. Shoulder blades down the back. Sit nice and tall. Find 10 rounds of breath here. As you push your feet against the stick and pull in at the same time, there's your duality. After that, coming out, maybe have them take the soles of their feet together and diamond out their knees just to start a little hip opening. Maybe chin to the right, back of the head to the left. Switching it up to the other side. Coming in for another 8 to 10 rounds of breath and stick mobility. This time using the same placement on the feet with the stick and underhand grip. Pulling in with the stick, bringing your heart forward, maybe a little hinge here. Breathing. 10 rounds of breath. Coming out for that. Coming back for a little yoga. Downward facing dog. Split big toe and second toe around the heel. Take the heel down closer to the mat. Tightening up in the thighs lifting toward the hips. Stretching the calves here. 5 breaths each side. Coming back for neutral here. Walking your hands back to your feet, feet to your hands. Meet in the middle of the mat. Hang it out here, grabbing for opposite elbows, rounding the spine, chin toward the chest. This is a good place to speak to the feet here. You want weight in the center of the heels, powering down, small toe sides, small toe mounds, balls of the feet, big toe mounds. Think 1, 2, 3, 4. Hang it out. Switching the grips on the elbows here, maybe lining up the torso or the elbows with the left side of the mat, just bringing the torso around, maybe switching it over to the other side. Coming back for neutral. Come here for a half lift, flat back, working the shins into the hands, hands into the shins, broadening in the collarbones. For some, it may be up on the thighs, but make sure they're pushing the thighs into the hands as they push into the thighs. Come in, palms together, bend to the knees, broadening across the collarbones, root rise. So coming up, I want you to inhale up with everyone. Take a little vinyasa. It's a swan dive, heart leaves, take it over. Rounding the spine, chin to chest. Inhale here for the half lift, flat back. Exhale, fold it in. Soften in the knees, hook your thumbs, inhale up. Hands to heart center. So the first pose in the hip opening and balancing sequence is a figure 4 balance. Flexing the toes in line with the knees sit low. Broad collarbones, 5 breaths. From here, you might ask them to come in, holding the knee, shoulders back. If you feel like it's there for them, they might work a quad stretch. One hand or both hands back to the toes, heel toward the glute. Some of them may be able to work their hand to the inside of the foot, kicking back, heart forward, coming in for a dancer pose. Notice the standing leg has a slight bend to the knee, not locking out. All options. From here, finding a few breaths, maybe a vinyasa, coming over, half lift here, exhale, fold, slight bend to the knees, hook thumbs, inhale up, switching to the other side. After that, you could repeat the stick mobility with the wide straddle-legged seated, or you can go back for some yoga. Coming here, maybe a step back to a crescent lunge. Inhaling, arms up, or for some, maybe taking it to the knee in a low lunge variation. Add a prayer twist here, lengthening out with the torso from the hips. 5 breaths. If they're in the high lunge variation here, coming back to neutral, hands to heart, another 5 breaths. Another 5 breaths with arms up. Fingers are engaged, active. Hands coming to heart center, shoulder blades down the back, and it's a step up. Maybe the vinyasa here, or you can skip it. root rise, step back, crescent lunge, work through that same variation on the other side. Remember, offering the low lunge because quite a few of them will need it. A step forward. Okay, next, stick mobility. You're going to stand in a wide stance. Take the stick around the waist and then maybe bringing it up the back slightly, arms out. You're going to work the slap stick, taking the stick down, opening the shoulder. You can do this with straight legs, thighs engaged, kneecaps and thighs pulling up, or they can bend their knees here. It's 10 breaths, and then a lift and a hover. Two more breaths. Come up and switch sides. Taking it over, slap stick. Remember, bend or tight thighs. 10 breaths, a hover. If they're hovering, maybe opening the shoulder a little bit more, root to rise, come up. Okay, coming back in for just a little work on the hips. Back, seated, soles of the feet together. Supta Baddha or Baddha Konasana, sitting tall, maybe peeling their feet open. 5 to 10 breaths here. Take it back on the mat. Draw the knees in toward the chest, wide toward the sides of the mat. Lifting their feet, hover here, or maybe taking hands to the outside of the feet, pulling the small toe side of the feet down as you power up in the feet toward the ceiling. Some of the guys come in wrapping the arms around their thighs, but you need to encourage them to keep their head back because they'll start to do this. Head back, knees wide. After a few breaths in those, just have them rock up. So the next thing I would come in for is right knee to the center line, coming into a swan pose. Now it would be really nice if you could add a little stick mobility to this. So you could take the stick here, holding, powering down in the stick. The top of the stick will be extending out slightly, hover. 5 breaths, switching sides. Knee to the center line to start, extending the arms out, power down, 5 breaths. Switching the stack of the hands side to side as well. And then you might have them come in without the stick, back into the swan pose, and then see if they can move their leg more parallel and take their chest over. Spend about 8 breaths here. You might ask them to power down in the thigh, leg, glute, holding it over. Coming out here, again to the straddle stance, tailbone descending down, pelvis lifted. Maybe a twist here, left shoulder rolls on the back, hand behind you, twist, belly, ribs, chest. You can add a lever with the opposite hand. You can open the arms if it's there. Coming back, switching sides, roll of the shoulder, power down, flex of the feet, open up. Coming back for neutral, you can give them a Shavasana here. If you want to do an additional stick mobility, you could take them through that swan pose again. You could also take them through the slap stick again for 10 breaths each side. Hopefully that gives you plenty for your class. Just play with it, change it up, make it your own. Good luck.